Get ready. Hey everybody, it's Friday, isn't it? Happy Friday. I hope the day is restful and productive for y'all. It was for me. I'm going to do my best to actually hard stop at 9 today just because I am a little geeky. The last 2 days have been a lot PM. But not in like the bad way, in the this is like actually working out pretty good, but also God, there's so much kind of way. So we're here now. Um, Maybe replacing Terry Bogard tonight. I am not entirely certain. I definitely want to work on cammy a bit. But yeah, I'm going to try to make sure that I hard stop by 9. I'm going to try. But if there is a very good chance that what's going to wind up happening is that I'm going to get my second wind, and then, lol, here we go. But whatever. We'll see how it goes. Hi Cookie, hi Kaz, good to see you both. Alright. Let's get this going. We're late today because I had a couple things I wanted to try to get done with Shoot Lancer. Unfortunately, my brain being the rat's nest positive rat's nest of energy that it is, I am now in the unenviable position of trying to make sure that my brain does not immediately run away with me to say, after we're done, you're going to do more work. I'm doing my best to not do that. But unfortunately, some part of how my brain works is very much in the category of by virtue of the fact that solving problems gives me dopamine, my brain then goes, do it more. And so it becomes very hard to disengage for work from me, because then work becomes fun in certain aspects. But we're going to play fighting games instead of worrying about all that. I can go ahead and do that, and then I can just manually launch Street Fighter 6 from over here. So we are going to talk about, at least briefly, the one elephant in the room, not related to me, but related to something else, which is very unfortunate, extremely frustrating, and I kind of hate it. But unfortunately, this is the reality that we are living in. Hey, Shiny. So, TLDR, Evo's face heel turn has been completed. It got acquired by a company that is essentially just more Saudi government sports watching. And notice I said Saudi government, right? I'm very specific when I make these sorts of criticisms, because people use sometimes these very real issues to be like, hey, so, what about them Saudis, and like arching their eyebrows. And it's like, okay, let's be clear here. It is largely the government that is driving most of these decisions, and the people that are choosing to kind of like work along and do the thing. We are not going to do the thing where we start being anti-meta just because there are people who are being assholes. Like, we're not doing that. Hey, Lynn. So, and also, I did say hi to Shiny, I think, but also hi, Mojo. But yeah, at this point, all I'm going to say is, yeah, support your locals. We still have, like, I'm going to put it like this. Evo being the biggest fighting game event at least on that level, does not preclude other events from being just as important and just as big, right? At least in the United States, I can name Frosty Fausting's Combo Breaker and CEO as probably, of those that are left. Yeah, like we've got those. Locals exist in every state. These things are around. Grassroots, and I'm not saying like, I am saying this with the implicit understanding that like fields of dreaming your way forward into something is really difficult, right? It is years worth of work, right? And it takes, like, just like with anything else with involving some form of organizing, it takes work. You got to put in work. I'm not saying it's going to be like, oh yeah, we can just like do this overnight, but it's doable. Be there for your locals and support the people that are doing the thing where you're at. Just like it is with like regular activism. It's just what it is. I probably should have. I should have gone there. I'm not following my own advice, and I'm going into ranked matches incredibly cold, and that's my fault. I shouldn't be doing that. Don't do this. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and get that out of the way.
Interesting.
No mercy.
Yeah, fair. Good walk back, yeah. Yeah, I got me with overhead, that's fair. Nah, not what I wanted to do there. Yep. Ooh, I was just out of range. I was just out of range after the second jab. That's unfortunate. All the other players screened it. Yeah, I wasn't gonna comment. I saw it. I'm just like, all right. Nightmare. Oops. Didn't react quite fast enough. Bop bop. I'm gonna have to hold the Psycho Mine. Ooh, unfortunate. That's probably right. That's plus. I should be dead here. Yeah. If you don't know who DSP is, I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't matter. It's funny, but like it. If you don't know who DSP is, it doesn't matter. If we're not talking about it, it doesn't matter. So yeah, the thing about Bison, and this Bison player is particularly, they know what they're doing, so that's good. That's fair. The main thing with Bison is that if you allow him to get started, he will basically very oppressively sit on you. As you can see with these scissor kicks that this Bison has been doing in particular, right? Bison's mobility mostly comes from stuff with his special moves, primarily. I wanted to do Spiral Arrow. I messed up and did the input wrong. Ooh, caught me right before I hit the ground. Very clean. Bison's mobility comes a lot from like his special moves and Drive Rush, pretty much. Otherwise, he is not very fast. It's my fault. And as far as like defensive options go, basically the only way that he actively hang on. I had to lock in for a second. I should have dropped that. Bison on the defensive front really only has his super arts, like Super Art 1, Super Art 3. I don't think Psycho Punisher, the Super Art 2, I don't think that has startup involved. So basically he has to have super meter in order to like defend himself or have a really good grasp of how to use system mechanics. A lot of his attacks are very heavy hitting, if a little slow. Ooh. Yeah, it's just 1 and 3, I thought so. So basically speaking, if he has to like space knee press correctly. Ooh, yeah, baited me. Ah, damn. Okay. Alright, brother. Alright, brother. That's fair. Yeah. Basically, Bison's whole thing is that he has to force you to block first, and then once he does that, then you're in the shit, basically.
You're in my way.
Yeah, so like basically, if Bison gets you blocking, especially if he like spaces a scissor kick correctly, or does some other thing that is like really plus, you kind of eat shit on the defense. And so like the key thing is mostly that you want to avoid. Oops. You want to avoid situations where he has a really strong opportunity to like press you like that. You really don't want that. Ooh. This should kill. So, essentially speaking, like, if he does head stomp, for example, or even just a jump for it, depending on the angle that he picks, he can, like, fake you out and fuck up your attempts to anti-air him, which can be very annoying. Aside from scissor kick, he also has his low slide kick. So a lot of Bison's movements are basically in bursts, essentially, is the way to think about it. And drive rush as well, kind of like adheres to that. So, essentially speaking, if you're fighting against a Bison, your main thing is mostly press him on the offense. You need to be very careful about trying to mash out. If he makes you block, mashing willy-nilly is a really bad idea. You should be very careful about that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful about jumps, because this is an Elena using modern controls, which means that, like, anti-airing for her is relatively easy. Yep, OD scratch wheel. Bait. Caught me standing. Final horn. Scratch wheel. Yep. That plus. Yep. Alright. Final horn. Yeah, Meteor Volley wouldn't have landed there. They had to do that. Okay, so at this point, jumping is basically a non-starter. Not impossible, but basically a non-starter. I shouldn't be doing it at this point. He's gonna be doing a lot of that to, like, bait me into standing. So I need to be careful. Yep. Yeah, see? Can't do it. if they bet on another OD Scratch Wheel or Super R3, I would have been hurt but not killed. I need to be careful about walking back. Yeah, because if I'm not careful, I will probably... Yep, that's plus. Oh. It's okay. That's not. I'm gonna eat SA2. Okay, not 3. Healing. Nah, I'm cooked. Fuck! I tried. Because the thing I was trying to really avoid, I was trying to make sure that I didn't commit so hard that I was going to get popped by an OD Scratch Wheel when I didn't have the help to tank it. I messed up the timing. Plus. Yeah, there we go. I was thinking that they hadn't tried to pop me with the overhead. And this is why I said, so I was jumping less and dive kicking less, because if I'm not giving them as much to bite on, to use with like Scratch Wheel, I can plus. Fuck, missed it. Bending side. Final horn. Yeah, if I'd stayed in place, that might have hit me. Okay. Yeah, if you're gonna get hit by Elena doing her crouching medium kick, it's better if she does it while you're crouching. If she catches it, because then the second hit, if she does the second hit, it'll whiff. I'm fucked. So yeah, whenever Elena's doing like that very long-looking crouching medium kick, she cannot cancel that with a drive rush or a drive impact. So if you like DI it, she has to... Yeah, that one. Like, that second hit from that kick does not hit if she catches you crouching. That's wrong. Yeah, there's the overhead again. So... Yeah. Essentially speaking, if Elena ever catches you standing, you don't want to be in that position at all. Because if Elena catches you standing and she's using... Y'all have also seen me do it to other people when playing as her. If Elena catches you standing with most of her moves that can cancel into her target combo, you get fucked. So, in most cases, you want to be crouch blocking a lot of the things that Elena does. The main thing that you then have to be careful of if she's doing that is, of course, the overhead, right? And she has... as far as like she has man normal that acts as an overhead, a lot quicker to kind of like put out and use as like okay, I was poking, now I'm going to use the overhead and like pop you in the head. Hang on. And then she has one off of give me a second, I gotta Nah, you reacted too slow, buddy. Woo! Got right over it. Love that. Okay. I know. I probably messed up the input for the Oof. When I did the 1-2 there, if I hadn't messed up my reaction, I could have jive impacted and gotten the kill there. But you know, it happens. Oh. Just use regular flash kick and not OD. That's the only reason why that worked. Or why that traded. If it had been OD flash kick, I would have lost that clean. Ooh, unfortunate! So that's the thing, right? Like, Guile can play a defensive game. This Guile understands how to, like, play Guile correctly. It's mostly that I'm making the right calls in terms of, like... To some extent. I'm making the right calls as to when to press buttons, and I'm not taking as much bait for getting, like, fucking clapped by, like, OD flash kick. Though I need to stop pressing buttons, after... Yeah, that's fair. If I had more health, that flash kick, I might have been able to tank the hit and maybe pop him on the way down, but no telling for sure. Yep, fair. Yeah, like, I don't know if it's just like that he's like fucking up the OD inputs, but like... I fucked it! Ah, damn it! I'm dead now. I'm so annoyed. I dropped it. Literally, I dropped it right in the middle, and that's what annoys me. But it's okay. Just gonna let it go. Yeah. So learn from me there. Don't. It is generally not a good idea to try to drive impact a Sonic Boom from Guile. He usually just recovers too fast. It just doesn't work. Like I said, usually being the operative word there, right? So Guile wasn't like completely up a creek there. If he was charging and was charging correctly, he could have called out a couple of things that I did with like a Sonic Hurricane. I would have eaten shit basically. Ooh. Nope. Too slow. Yeah. Alright, that's fair. I have the drive advantage, but the severe health disadvantage now. So I flash kick. Yeah. Okay. But now the guy really has to command defensively and not fuck it up. I was too slow. That is not something he should have been able to do. It's my fault because I did the input too slowly. Yep, fair. Yeah. I'll hold that. So the back fist deliberately was especially meant to like stuff out the spin knuckles. So if I'd understood better that that's what he was doing, I might have been able to stop myself using spin knuckle as much in those specific spacing circumstances, and could have potentially made something work there. Maybe. Right? I say maybe there because it's the thing where I'm like even thinking about it now. I'm pretty sure I could have come up with an answer if I caught it on faster, but I didn't. I'm not entirely sure what I would have done. Metal. Two metals. Ah, no, that's worse. So basically, every time Manon lands either of those moves, of those throws where you see those feathers show up, she gets a medal. At five medals, like what she has right now, all of her throws and like throw adjacent, like all of her like command throws and like throw adjacent special moves, they get messy. Like you saw that one right there. That was like a attempt to like wake up. Whoops. What is up with me today? I'm dropping much more of those than I usually do. I'm not pressing buttons as quickly as I should be, which is annoying me a little bit, but... Hey, Stubby. Nope. Thank you, sub. +68 +/- is the ultimate mean number. Oh, hi. Oh, Mika for Street Fighter 2. Oh. We are getting Alex back, so anything is possible. Ah, wow. Nah, that was a bad call on my part. I should be dead here. So yeah, basically once Manon gets once Manon gets 5 medals, it's not over, but uh it becomes immensely more of a pain in the ass, is the simplest way to put it. Because a lot of her command throws do more damage. Her super art 3, if she does it, will basically, it won't delete you the way that like Zangief's will, but it will come close. So thank you again. Thank you for the research, Levy. I appreciate it. If somebody could very kindly do an exclamation point hype, I'd appreciate it. But yeah,
Let's get this mission started.
the other thing about Manon, and I sort of let her get away with this because I was getting tilted, was that if she has the opportunity to burn drive gauge to make a lot of her stuff more plus, then that's when she starts to be able to put on pressure. Without drive, she doesn't have the option to do that. If you see Guile walking backwards, you can very safely jump at him. Ooh. Yep. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Oh! Huh. That... I feel like that shouldn't have worked. That's weird. The fuck? I'll explain why. So... Guile's Super Art 1 should have Striking Bow on it. So that shouldn't have worked, and I could have been hit at the end of that round. The only, and I'm pretty sure both versions of it should have it, because he has a version where he does Sonic Hurricane directly in front of him, and then a version where he does Sonic Hurricane angled upward a little bit, right? Even with the jab, I should have, if I'd been paying attention and reacted correctly, I would have been able to. Yeah. And the thing about Spin Knuckle is that they adjusted its, and part of the reason why I'm having a little bit of trouble, and these are haps I should have taken a while ago, is that, Spin Knuckle used to have much more generous windows on, like, letting you through projectiles, and they shortened that a while ago. Sometimes I still kind of, like, act as if it's not like that. Oops. Alright, later, Cookie. Thank you for stopping by. Ooh. There we go. So yeah, like, the thing is that, like, Guile throwing a Sonic Boom to bait you into a Flash Kick is not completely unstoppable, right? Depending on the distance at which Guile, at which you do the jump, right? it is entirely possible to like avoid getting absolutely fucking. It's not going to do as much damage as it could have because perfect parries greatly reduce. Yeah, like I said, so like jumping at Guile immediately after he's thrown a Sonic Boom, if he doesn't have time to like start crouching again, you're usually in the clear. But yeah, in most circumstances against Guile, you should not try to drive impact with the Sonic Boom. Don't bother, because it is not that it never works, but the circumstances under which you will successfully manage to punish him for using a Sonic Boom with a drive impact are extremely, extremely small. There's really no point in trying in most circumstances. Shouldn't have done that one, buddy. Oh. Damn, should have pressed a little harder. Yep, fair. Okay. Really? Well, the answer to that question. That's unfortunate. I'll have to hold that. Basically, in that situation, if I hadn't tried to drive impact, if I blocked the flash kick, I could have taken the round back. But these things happen. So yeah, for people who don't, remember, who don't play this game like this a lot, or don't really have a feeling for the way that like characters sort of are in certain circumstances, Guile is as a character, is very good at playing defensively. He can play offensively, but a lot of what you spend your time doing with Guile is like basically walling people out and being really annoying in that particular sense. Plus, Luke, on the other hand, is very kind of like straightforward as far as like how he does his offensive options. He has a lot of moves that move him forward a lot, so it's very easy for him to like punish people if they're I got lucky there. I think if they hadn't done a forward dash, I would have probably eaten a ton of shit at that point. Probably. Oh yeah, okay, that's fair.
Cammy wins.
Ooh.
Round one. Fight.
Yep, fair. Passer. Yep, this is modern Luke. I can't jump like that. Made it work. So yeah, like Luke, on the other hand, as compared to Guile, much more straightforward as a character. Generally can be played in a very offensive or very defensive sort of position, but as you sort of see, like, given the way that like a lot of Luke's buttons tend to move him forward a lot, he is very good at like pressing the offensive or punishing people who are oops. Or punishing people who are very careless about their buttons. Very good at that. Didn't drop it that time. There we go.
Cammy wins.
So yeah, the main thing with Luke is that as a result, if you are not very careful about where you place your buttons when you're fighting against him, you will put your limbs in a position where he just reaches up, reaches over, and then slaps your hands really, really hard, because you put your hand out in a position where it wasn't supposed to be, and then you eat shit tons of damage. Much like when you fight against Marisa, except for different reasons. Marisa is extremely momentum based and is kind of slow physically, but basically just hits like a truck. Her lows are not super great necessarily. They're not terrible, but her lower body is basically where she has a lot of trouble kind of like keeping things together. Oops. Yep. As you saw, right? Like, whenever Marisa uses like her armored scutum like that, if you hit her legs, no good. Gladius, that big old duck knuckle punch. If you manage to hit her lower body when she's attempting to charge it up, bad time for her. Oops. If I had been willing to gamble, I could have either done OD cannon spike against that or tried Super R3, but I would have had been like awake. And admittedly, like my reflexes are not at their sharpest today or right now. That kick, Super R3. That's fair. In her case, it's good for Marisa to do this because I get pushed basically near to the corner. if not straight to it. And now Marisa has the life advantage, and I'm like stuck in the corner. Not ideal against Marisa because again, like. Yeah. Like, basically, if I hadn't done the drive rush there, I could have baited that super art one, and it would have been a done deal. But, you know, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride and all that. Oh yeah, that was meaty and from a drive rush. Yeah, I was fucking hooked. I was getting away from that. Step kick. Ooh! What a reaction on my part. Jesus Christ. I'm so happy I had enough drive gauge left to do that. It is very expensive to react to the way that I did. As far as like Yep. I wasn't close enough. Or rather, I wasn't far away enough. Probably because I dashed. I wasn't able to jump and avoid those jabs. I think I dashed there, and that's why I wasn't able to. Careful, careful. Nah. Ooh. You tried it. I respect it. I respect it. If I hit that with like a punch or something, I would have basically eaten shit immediately. But because I jumped, and then that follow-up that she used specifically kept her from like doing anything about it. Nope. And I get phone. So yeah, tempting as it is for many Cammy players to be like, oh yeah, I'll just... Oops. I'll just like spiral arrow at them if they're not approaching. Not a good idea. And that's the reason why. Okay, good. Yep, step kick. Yeah, too high up. So yeah, like, if you see that Gladius, right, you may be going, well, Sean, why don't you just drive impact it? If Marisa charges Gladius, there is no drive impact. What happens is that you eat shit, because Gladius, when it's fully charged up, whether it's the normal version or the OD version, will absolutely break your attempts to drive impact it. If it's uncharged, that's different. But like if she charges it, now you're holding that shit. There we go. Oof. Making it work. Making it work. Yep. Good step kick there. Ah! Put herself just out of range for me to check the Gladius. Unfortunate. If I'd reacted sooner, I should be dead here. This should be enough damage to kill me, I think. If not, then it's very close. That is a surprise. I'm kind of fucked here. I'm not going to say it would have been impossible to run that back, but the order of magnitude that I would have needed to run that back, I basically lost that. I lost that the moment I decided, the moment that I read what she was doing next incorrectly, I lost that. Like, it's just what it is. Okay. Modern Akuma. A thing that you'll hear me say commonly against modern players, especially depending on what character they're playing, you'll probably hear me say, don't jump a lot, right? Akuma is one of those characters, shouldn't jump. Unfortunate. So, the thing about Akuma in particular, for people who don't know Street Fighter, Akuma is basically an extremely strong character in terms of offensive options and just like generally kind of like kicking his shit on people when he's in the mood to. The main trade-off that he makes for that is that pretty much in any game where he is actually like where he is tournament legal, he usually has like really shit HP to compensate. This game is no exception. The average character health in this game is 10,000 units. Akuma is the only character with 9,000. In practice, what this means is that... So, the thing is that, in theory, right, this means that he is a character who is basically very high risk and high reward. In practice, this is still pretty true. But it mostly comes down to, like, do you as Akuma's opponent have the ability to, like, actually make the most use of the fact that, like, this man folds like tissue paper in the right circumstances. And if the Akuma player is as clever as you see here, right, that is sometimes easier said than done. Missed it. Ah, damn it! If I hadn't fucking dropped after the heavy spiral arrow, the super move, I would have killed him. But I dropped it. I'm saying that a lot tonight, which is annoying. But it is what it is. I'm happy that they chose to run it back. Because I'm pretty sure I have not an entirely perfect fix on this Akuma, but enough of one that, like, if I'm a little bit less careless with the things I'm doing, I might be able to make this work. Yeah, I like the demon flip a lot. Nope. They were willing to wait there. Okay, I think I can make this. If I stayed ducking, it would have been fine because that would have whiffed. I got careless and sloppy. The main thing that I needed to be a little bit more circumspect about, it's a little complicated, right? Because with Akuma in particular, you don't want to completely try to disregard all of the things that he's doing. Um, a large part of it is that, like, right now, my sense of like where to push and where not to push is a little bit messed up, and I can tell that like my risk reward sensor is a little fucked up right now, and I'm making gambles where I shouldn't be, and I'm not trying to see if I can like draw people out, and that's causing me problems. And if I keep that up, Sagat will make that very, or he will make me pay for that like by a lot. Nope. Missed that peek there. I think I did that second. Yes. Yep. And push. Yeah, and this is the other part that's a little more difficult. Scott having very long limbs means that if I very similar to what I was saying about Luke before, if you remember, where it's like, right, like Luke, if you put your hands out in spots where they really shouldn't be, then you wind up getting. It's like basically like you put your hand in the garbage disposal. Same thing with Sagat, except Sagat is less so about like, oh yeah, he'll do that because he moves forward a bunch, and more because and more so just because his limbs are really long. So without like a lot of forward motion, he still winds up even without like a lot of forward motion, if you're putting your limbs in the wrong spots, Scott basically puts you in a situation where his normals, if he times them correctly, will come out and swat you for doing things that you should be doing. Because his limbs are very long. But because his limbs are very long, it is also, depending on the circumstance, very easy to like catch him doing things he really shouldn't be doing because his limbs are very long. I finally recognized the sweep when it came out. Like, Scott's throwing out that sweep by a lot, and I can punish that. Yeah, not enough to force it. Made it work. Alright. Oof. So yeah. Oof. Yeah, that's gonna hurt though. Not enough to like cause problems, but enough. There we go. So, this Sagat is very unwilling to use OD uppercut, so I might maybe be able to, like, use that as, like, a pressure lever if I'm careful. And not doing things like fucking up my dive kick spacing. Okay, that's, like, the one time I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll push it a little bit. And it's like, nope, not gonna do it. I messed up part of that pressure there a little. Yep. I'm not dead. This is going to hurt a lot. And I'm not going to get to recover any drive gauge while this is going. But yeah, Sagat's lows are not unthreatening, like as you see there, but he can't convert as much off of them. So they're mostly used for, like, poking and certain degrees of threat enforcement. Tiger knee. Again, right? Like, Sagat's limbs being long as hell helps him a lot of the time, but, like, there's situations like that where it really doesn't help at all. And then corner carry, tiger, tiger, tiger. Oh. Oof. Yes. So, Sagat had one gap there. One gap there that if he'd managed to do the super input during that gap, like for Super Art 1 for Tiger Cannon, I would have eaten shit. He didn't pull it off. So, that's one of the main things, right? That's one of the main things that is sort of like a crux of fighting games that I think is very important and also very fun. Is that, yeah, somebody could know the answer to the specific thing that you're doing, and it's very risky in that sense, or they could not know it, and then you get away with it. You never know until you try. Yep. I need to be careful. This is a modern Ryu, so for much the same reasons like jumping against Luke and that. It's not an ideal situation. I do not have a lot of drive gauge to work with here. Yep. I'm not dead. It's gonna hurt a lot. Yeah. Basically, again, like trying to jump at a modern player is a bad idea. Sometimes I risk it because I think that I'll be able to like pull it off, but like a lot of the time you really shouldn't. Yeah, no, I deserve that. That's my fault. That's fucking wrong. And I thought I could maybe put Ryu in a situation where I could force him to burn out and sort of close his options down a little bit, but I made a bad call. Okay, let's see. Yep. Nope. Yeah, I gotta take this approach a little more piecemeal. This is the difficult part about playing Cammy, which is that, like, um, she does not have any standing overheads like Elena or even like Ryu, right? To open people up with. So, and much like with Guile, you should not really try to like drive impact. You shouldn't really try to drive impact through Ryu's fireballs a lot of the time. It's not really worth it. Ken is a different story because Ken's no-Ken recovery is a little worse. So it's a little bit harder for him to like enforce it that way. See that scoop punch there? That's Ryu's standing overhead. So like Cammy does not have one. Like if Cammy wants to do an overhead, she's doing a jumping attack or like that. And that guy had the shirt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, see that walk back? Did that on purpose to bait the spin knuckle. Ooh. Usually, literally just using jabs to attack. Alright. Yeah. So, the other way that you sort of like beat modern players, depending on the character they're using, usually you have to diffuse the things that they can more immediately react to, which means that you jump less. So, the one thing I know for sure is that this Ryu does not like using OD Shoryuken, so I can probably assuming I get like a good knockdown, I can probably use that to my advantage. But that's going to take a little more work. So nope. Good check with the light. My fault. Show. Not a bad call. I get why. Dive disadvantage, life disadvantage. I'm in the corner now. Even if I'd been closer, I would have been hit by that drive impact anyway. So yeah, cooked. So the main thing that got the Ryu in the end, they have a pretty good understanding of what they're doing. They're pretty good at teching throws. The main problem is that when they started doing that silly shit of like, yeah, I'm gonna like do a couple jabs here, a couple jabs there. You notice how I started like staying my distance a little bit and then poking more like crouching medium kick and things like that is explicitly to get under those jab checks. So after a while, it was like, all right, all I have to do is just like do that and pop a couple times, and you're good. Uppercut. Yep, tiger. Yep. And this is where Sagat, for example. So you remember what I said about how with like you know, Bison, if Bison gets you blocking, you're kind of in trouble. Sagat, same thing, right? In a lot of ways, Sagat is also not really mobile outwardly, and so it's one of those things where, like, nah, too high up. But yeah, basically, if you ever see Cammy's cannon strike hit below the waist, it is generally safe for Cammy at that point to continue pressing the offense. If it hits above the waist, usually not so much. If somebody like crouch blocks it, that calculus becomes a lot worse in Cammy's favor. Nah. If I'd waited just a little and tried to get a little closer, maybe, but I'm not sure about that. Why are we starting to get frame drops now? It's very unfortunate. Tiger. Even more unfortunate was throwing that. Ooh! Yep, fair. And that's the thing, right? Like, people start getting, especially if they're burned out and you're pushing them toward the corner, people start getting real skittish about getting hit by a driving pack. So psychologically, especially if you notice that the person you're playing against is that type of player, you can use that as a psychological lever against them. In this game specifically. Uh-huh. So yeah, like you saw how when I got that last dive kick before that last exchange, how I hit roughly around like Sagat's shin to foot. I was safe as fuck. That's plus as fuck. So as cammy, ideally when you're attempting to like hit people with dive kicks, usually you want to have them at spacings where... Wrong one. I thought he was doing the other follow-up. So I thought I was gonna have time to grind that out. Tiger. And this is why Sagat's very dangerous, right? Because like his limbs being as long as they are, while it does mean that you can like blow him up in certain circumstances where you couldn't with other people, it also means that he very well will in certain circumstances make you regret it. Not too high up. Fuck! Good. Uppercut. Also, hi Rigel. I see the corpse. Give me, I am fighting for my life right now! I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. The unscale on that, I'm fucked. It's what it is. Yeah, so like Sagat's, that's why I was saying before that like Sagat's limbs being as long as they are both a benefit to him and a hindrance if you place them correctly. Like you do shit like that, like easy as breathing, right? That's not safe. Ooh. Again, an example of like, oh yeah. An example of, oh right, lol, Sagat's limbs being long are not a great thing. With high and low Tiger Shot in particular, if you have normals that, if you have like good jumping normals that change your hitbox the way that like Cammy's standing, Cammy's jumping heavy kick basically kind of shrinks her hitbox vertically. So there are circumstances under which it is very good at making sure that she can get over certain things if you time it correctly. Very useful. Ah, damn it, wrong one. So whenever Sagat does that one, he's safe enough to like follow up with like a counter DI and stuff like that. Ooh. Not a great punish, though. Ah, yeah. I should be dead here. Yeah. The other thing about like that standing elbow that Sagat does, that quick looking one, is his standing medium punch. That shit, it's not cancelable, but it is very aggressively plus. That he just hit me with, that I took damage from, that shit is like aggressively plus. If he puts you in a situation where he gets into 2 or 3 of those, the damage to your drive gauge is a lot. It's very scary. Ooh. I'm dead here. Yeah. Even without using Super R3, Sagat does a lot of damage. There are ways in which he's very similar to Akuma insofar as like he shits damage, and ways in which he's very different from Akuma, which is that he has 1,000 more. He has 1,000 more health than Akuma does. So if you're like, who wins in a fight between Sagat and Akuma? Hey, it's Terry. If you're like, who wins in a fight, Sagat versus Akuma in Street Fighter 6? It's like, well, Akuma. Akuma does a lot of damage, but so does Sagat, and Sagat has more health. So. Yep. Fair enough. Yep, OD tackle. OD rising tackle. Plus. So when Terry uses Burn Knuckle, he spaces it correctly, like what happened there in the screen shakes, that is plus. You do not press buttons if he hits you with a plus Burn Knuckle. Unless you're doing like an overdrive move, unless you're doing like an OD reversal or even like a super art with it. Those are basically your only ways out of that situation. You do not want to do it other. Not a good idea. I'm assuming that the back step that they did there was to avoid getting thrown. Which works. I'm not dead. It's gonna hurt a lot though. So I gotta figure out an answer to Rising Fang. There we go. I know there's not enough of a gap to... Yeah, I'm just gonna have to work around that like that, essentially. Yeah, then that's the other part. Power wave. Yep. It's gonna hurt, but I'm not. Hated it. I was hoping that they were gonna do something like that. The bait worked. We take this. So yeah, this Terry likes to use crouching medium kick into Terry's target combo a lot, which means that I need to I need to be like continuing to work to find ways to like. That was. Yeah, like that. This Terry likes using those a lot, so I need to figure out ways to keep that neutralized. Ooh. More dive kicks might do it.
Nope.
Round 2. Fight.
Yeah, and like I can't jab to get out of it. I think probably, assuming that it doesn't like eat my inputs directly, I think maybe my only way out of it. Damn it! Wait. Yeah, I'm not dead, but this hurts a lot. When that drive impact came out, I was trying to like do a drive reversal to see if I could break it that way, but I messed it up. Yeah, so you can like jab in order to like break the loop, and they know that. Which I didn't know. I had to test it. Yeah. Oh, they tried the DI, and I grabbed it. Unfortunate. I know, I should have. Maybe if I'd waited, I would have been able to make that work. They're gonna do Rising Fang. Alright, let's see. Yeah. And then I got stuck in the crack shoot loop. I think I maybe could have done a super to get out of there, but I didn't know where the exit point was. So pulling it off under that pulling it off in that situation would have been very difficult. Not impossible, it's difficult.
You're in my way.
Nope, baited it. Ooh, they might have tried to do a Buster Wolf there instead of Power Charge. Either way, I was blocking, so I don't know if it would have worked. Ground wave, ground wave. I might be dead here. I'm definitely burnt out, but I'm probably dead. Yeah, I'm dead. That's dead. So basically, if I can just neutralize that crouching medium kick a lot more cleanly, I should be in a better position to like actually blow them up. Like, it's literally that target combo that's getting me the most right now. There we go. That is the answer. But this should also kill them.
Locked on.
So now I know the answer. Basically, basically that's the main thing. With Terry and a couple other characters, they have like normals or command normals where if they use them or like target combos, where if they use them in very close range and then drive rush afterward, if you try to mash out like with just regular jabs or something, it's not gonna cut it. You usually have to use something that has like proper invincibility to push them off you, or otherwise make the call.
Let us begin.
No mercy for you.
Round one. Fight.
And now that is the last unsolicited spin knuckle I'm throwing this entire match if I can help it. God damn it! Well, even if dive kick had come out, I don't know if I'm spacing right. There's a pretty good chance that if the dive kick had come out and Ryu blocked it, it would have been above the waist. Which is, again, not ideal when you're doing dive kicks. With dive kick characters, when you do the dive kick specifically, you want the dive kick to hit as low to the ground as possible. Didn't want to do that one there. I was holding back for a little too long. Nope. Not too far. Yeah, that was a good call on that part. If I hadn't done the follow-up after that one hit too slowly, I would have gotten the spiral arrow, wouldn't have been blocked. But I'm too slow. There, made me whip first. No. Two. Fuck. Whatever I was pressing was not fast enough after that, then I probably should have pressed it. No. I should be dead here.
Ryu wins.
Yeah, some of that was on me. the thing about Ryu in particular, because I realized that was probably like the first classic Ryu that we fought all night. The thing about Ryu in particular, especially in this game, is that he has a defensive playstyle in a very similar vein as Guile, except that with I'll put it like this: Guile is not like badly rounded as a character, but the main thing is that with Guile in particular, you really want to work his defensive angles a lot more because he does a lot better from a position where he gets to be obnoxious at people by like striking at them from a defensive position. Ryu plays the defensive position very well, but also when he decides to like take the offense, he the way that I would describe it charitably is that he bungas the fuck out. And especially because he does a lot of damage. A Ryu that is bunging the fuck out on you is you don't want that like at all. And if I hadn't put out that standing medium punch. Oh well. See the walkbacks there? It's to avoid the dive kicks. Any situation where you make Cammy whip the dive kick is very good for you as a defender because then it means that she has to spend a lot of time recovering. And any situation where Cammy has to spend time recovering from a dive kick is not good for her. It usually means that if you're careful, you can swat her. I tried to jump, and I got hit out of the jump frames by the punch. So when Akuma does like the chop, basically your response to that is that you have to like intercept him before it comes out, or depending on the spacing, right? Ever since they gave him a command, which is started in this game. Unfortunate. But yeah, basically, ever since they gave Akuma a command throw out of... Welcome back, Cookie. They gave Akuma a command throw out of his Shungoku... not Shungoku Satsu, sorry. His Ashura Warp, the move where he slides forward a little bit. I'm not saying that all Akuma players tend to overuse it, but a lot of them will at least test your gangster with it at least once just to see if you're awake. So, yep. Basically doing that for damage and probably to get drive advantage. Yep. Unfortunately, they did not space that part correctly. Remember what I said before about how if you have moves that shrink your hitbox horizontally, they're really good. That is an example of why Emmy's jumping heavy kick is really good sometimes in situations like this. That shit shrinks your hitbox vertically, not to degrees that are like it's comically busted, but it's very helpful in certain circumstances. Yeah, they fucking meant me. That was my fault. Oh.
Round 2. Fight.
He does walkbacks. Yeah, punished. Backfired. Okay. I'm probably. Oh, I lived.
Akuma win.
I might have, even if I'd blocked that, I might have been dead in the next exchange because that shit is extremely plus. What was the deal with Akuma and Tekken? By what sense of involved are you asking? Because if you're thinking that they knew each other, yes. Anything more than that, no. Essentially speaking, at least the way that it is told in Street Fighter, not Street Fighter 6, sorry. The way that it is told in Tekken 7, essentially speaking, Kazumi somehow got Akuma to make a promise to fuck Heihachi's shit up if Heihachi basically became a dipshit. And Heihachi became a dipshit. Well, not became, but more like if Heihachi's ambitions were to like reach and become like a danger to the world or something, essentially. I'm grossly paraphrasing, but essentially it was a deal where it was like somehow or another Kazumi got Akuma to agree to like beat the fuck out of Heihachi if it became necessary. Essentially is what that was. Somehow she got that promise out of him. It is not explicitly explained how. I know the Cypher's not confident. I can take advantage of this. Yeah, the Viper wasn't confident at all. On them. But yeah, essentially, at least from what I remember of from the story, from that game and the explanation, that was essentially it. There we go. I knew you were gonna do it at some point. I'm like, where's the Tekken lore or something? Yeah. I say this as like I jokingly fight with Pleasantly Twisted all the time about this. They're like, yeah, like nobody plays fighting games for plots. Plots of fighting games are all bupkis anyway. And I'm like, it's about the personal growth and not the overarching plot. Like, the overarching plot in a fighting game is absolutely fucking ridiculous, but also, like, if you're looking at them as character stories in the context of, like, how these characters kind of, like, change and evolve, right? Then that is closer to sort of, like, the way that you really want to follow them. Like, the plot details, as far as the overarching plots, are, like, no. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. It's about, like, the personal stakes, more so than anything else, right? Okay, I hate to have to put it like this, but, like, basically, fighting game lore and like, professional wrestling lore are essentially very similar in the way that you need to, like, the way you need to take them. I buy the GG games on story mode, listen to the OC, like, yeah, like, that's the thing, right? Like, Guilty Gear's overarching story mode, there's a lot going on. But if you look at, like, the individual character stories, especially with, like, Shrive, for example, right? Shrive's isn't as involved as it used to be, but, like, Bridget's whole story in Guilty Gear Strive is basically a very heartwarming story of, like, self-discovery, right? And even there are other aspects of, like, Shrive's story mode when you're looking at it more, like, about the individual arcs that the characters are taking, where it's like, okay, this is where the sauce is, right? If you are thinking too hard about it, and even like BlazBlue is like the same thing, right? Like, yeah, like BlazBlue has like the visual. They stopped doing that. Well, they stopped doing like the looping paths and stuff after a while because it got tricky to maintain. But like, even with like BlazBlue in particular, right? The overarching plot of BlazBlue is extremely difficult to explain. Even as someone who understands most of it, I'm like, eh. But the character, like, if you're following Ragnar's story from Calamity Trigger all the way to Central Fiction, then that's the thing, right? Like, it is about how the characters sort of like individually grow in most fighting game storylines. If you are focusing too much on all the silly shit in like the overarching plot, then yes, you're gonna go like, wow, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Why am I here? Right? But the whole, and that's why I made the comparison to like, that's why I made the comparison to professional wrestling, because like, yeah, like the whole overarching plot of most fighting games is kind of like absurd and a little weird, and sometimes like a fun kind of weird. But like, if you're coming into it with the expectation that it's going to be taking itself extremely seriously, wrong genre for that. But like, it's about character beats, right? Like, since they're talking about Tekken, right? We continue using Tekken as an example, right? Look at Jin. Like, Jin's story from Tekken 3 to Tekken 8, like, you can go like, yeah, a lot of it is just like, you know, schlocky melodrama. Yes, right? But on a larger level, right? Jin's story in Tekken, like Jin's story in Tekken over the course of like the 5 games that he's been a character. Hang on, I'm gonna lock him up quick. Far enough away that the sandblast. Yeah. But like Jin's story from Tekken 3 to Tekken 8 is essentially like the story of how someone basically rebuilds themselves after feeling like they've lost everything that they loved. Like, Jin's story is basically just that, right? And it's a thing where you have to sort of like follow sort of like the individual plot beats from game to game for him specifically, right? And like the overarching plot is relevant in certain aspects, but a lot of it is mostly just about like what is like the character's individual story, right? To go back to the Blaze Blue example, since Stubby kind of noted that like, oh, the thing I was saying supports the point you're saying and doesn't rebut it. Yeah, like Ragna's growth as a character over the course of the Blaze Blue franchise is extremely impressive and kind of like pointed, right? And a lot of it is based on just the fact that like he has a lot of the overtures of like edgy shonen hero, right? Like a lot of that stuff is baked into his DNA at the start, and then like without getting too deep into details, Blaze Blue spends a lot of time kind of like picking apart how basically being a doofus who is driven by revenge and is angry at shit all the time just makes you really easy to manipulate, and kind of over time makes the point that it's like you have to learn how to unburden yourself from just being angry at shit in order to like actually progress forward with your growth as a human being. We have an ad break coming in soon, so we're gonna do like maybe one more set to play out the ad break, and then we'll stop after ads are over, because an ad break should be starting soon based on when I started. So yeah, like that's the thing, right? So like if you're like, yeah, I played fighting game story, this shit doesn't make sense, it's like boo boo butt ass. It's like, okay, I'm not going to hold you that there are a lot of fighting game plots that are just kind of like whatever, right? But like,
You're in my way.
one drink for Jamie, that puts his damage at 90%. He also gets a dive kick at one drink, so I have to be careful not to use it. Two drinks. I'm gonna go rest. Have a good energy. Thanks for stream. Yep. Catch you later, cuz. Thank you for coming by. Fighting game has a normal shape for sword. Yeah, Sesame. Yeah, SSE does. That's true. For people who don't know what Sesame's Emissary is, that's the story mode for Smash Bros. Brawl. Oh, in fact, I will in fact give Subspace Emissary even more points by virtue of the fact that, like, by and large, it tells its story mode, as far as I can remember, with very minimal, if no dialogue. Some characters talk in SSE, I think, but most of them don't. Oh, yep. So every now and again, I like to save the yellow drive impact just for situations like that one where it's like, oh, you know, cornered them, pressured them, slap. Very much on purpose. Where it's like every now and again, I will occasionally just do that, just to be like, yeah. So, drink. That is Jamie's version of a DP. That flip kick. Ooh, yep. Drinks.
Round 2. Fight.
Ads. So you're in ads. We'll see you. We'll see you when you get back. If you're not, please enjoy me trying to pick apart this Jamie a little bit. Go 2 drinks. Normal damage now. But yeah, Jamie's whole gimmick is essentially for people that are not in ads hell right now. Jamie's whole gimmick is that as he drinks more, his damage goes up. Without drinks, he does 20% less damage than damage scaling is reduced by about 20. Like his damage scaling is increased by 20%. I should say. All right. So in other words, he does less He does like 20% less damage overall when he has no drinks in him. And so at 2 drinks, he does normal damage. At 3, he does 105, I want to say, or like and then at 4, he does like 110, something like that.
Come on. It's time to train.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of resources. Fuck.
Jamie wins.
Fun.
Round 1. Fight.
Alright. This pile arrow didn't come out. There we go. Missed the meaty there, but that's okay. Yeah, I didn't have enough for that. Good throw. I got it, but I didn't do the right thing to follow afterward, unfortunately. Yep. Jamie's back to the animation, still extra over the top. He is Mr. Top Player after all. It makes sense.
Round 2. Fight.
So yeah, the only thing that was unfortunate for that Jamie right there is that that first punch of his Rekka, his multi-hit like 1-2-3 punch combo. The main thing about the first hit of that is that while it is safe in most circumstances, you have to space it correctly. If you mess up the spacing on it, then it's not safe at all, and you kind of like blow him up for it. Same thing with like that palm move there that he did is called Swagger Step. If Jamie does not space Swagger Step correctly, then it's not plus at all. And then once Swagger Step comes out, if you block it and his spacing is fucked up, you kick him in the nuts, and it really sucks for him. But most Jamie players have a pretty good understanding of how to space it so that they avoid that situation most of the time. Alright, it's 9:20. We need to go somewhere else. I appreciate y'all coming by. I have not gotten a chance to do any grinding like I wanted to for Lost Kingdoms 2 to try to prepare for things. I need to attempt to get on that. But we'll have to see how that goes. Thank y'all. Let me get y'all sorted out with somebody to go raid. I'm gonna go see who's online in my stream. You missed it. Yeah. So like Yato, Um, hold on a second. Let me, because I'm trying to remember what time zone you're in. Um, my start time is normally 3 hours ago. From right now, whatever your time zone is, 3 hours ago. In this case, I started like an hour late. I was stuck in Grand Blue Hell. Did that to you? Did that to yourself? I'm just saying. Did it to yourself. We've been to see Champerl recently. Do you go? Let me see here. Maybe we go visit. We go visit Ash. Now, why is that? You, instead of playing Granblue, you could have come hang. You could have come to hang out with us. I'm saying this as a joke. I am not actually trying to guilt you into this, but I'm saying this as a joke. Um, but all right, I think we're gonna go hang out with Ash Said Hi, mostly because she is playing some Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I feel like it is important to like have us some chill. Like I was saying before, I started roasting Yato for no reason. Um, Also, speaking of the stream team that I'm on the stream team for Black and the Flash, which is a black speedrunning group. It's very cool. Yatogami is one of the members of the Black and the Flash community. You should go hang out with him sometime. He's pretty chill. It's also wickedly funny. So good idea. Go follow Yato. Let me, in fact, let me just do this. Yeah. Yato also plays fighting games, as you can see. I could have sworn I was. Anyway, fix that. Twitch is probably being silly. So yeah, as you see, Yadogami also plays fighting games, and also other stuff. But as you can see, he's currently on a Grand Blue versus Rising kick. I should go back to playing Grand Blue versus Rising. I think I bought the full version. It's just that I'm like, I really wanted somebody who punches, and the best I got is Meg, and I haven't learned how to use her yet. So I guess I might as well just like, I might as well just learn her. I guess. Shrug. Sigh. Anyway, go hang out with Yato. We're gonna go hang out with um we're gonna go hang out with Ash Said Hi because I think we could probably do like a nice relaxing game now that y'all have seen me be sweaty for like about 2 hours and change. Um the plan on Sunday is to try to finish Lost Kingdoms 2. I'm gonna see if I can actually like do any grinding for anything that might be more useful beforehand. I'll try, but there's a very good chance that I might get distracted. Um, Depending on whether or not I get the prep done, maybe we just play more Relooted instead, or I just grind on stream to sort of figure it out and then we try it again. We'll see how that goes. But the intention is at least to try to clear Lost Kingdoms 2 on Sunday. I'd really like to do that. Free us up a little bit. But yeah, this is our raid message for Ash. Um, Links and things like that. Here's some links to some things that I do. Um, Here's a link to the. I need to change that. To be more precise about what Unity is, it is a worker-owned game development studio. Is very specifically what it is. Because I realized that I need to change the wording on that. It is a worker-owned game development studio. So yeah, we are there doing that thing. Patreon, you can support me. You can support us that way. Sorry, I don't have a Patreon. I have a Ko-fi if you want to support me. But if you want to support Immunity and the stuff we're doing, we have a Patreon. If you want to play a demo of our first game, Shoot Lancer, it's over on our itch page. And you can also get access to our Discord through there. For my personal Discord, this is the link to that one. We do like manually authorize the people that come through. So if you want to hang out in my Discord, that's the link to it. Just keep in mind, read the rules channel, follow the instructions for getting verified, and then we'll get you in there. All right, that's all I've got. Let's go hang out with Ash. Until next time I see you, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask if you're outside, be nice to each other. not the bigots, racists, terrorists, sexist, anti-queer folks, or fascists. Remember, Black Lives Matter, trans right to human rights, reproductive right to human rights. Palestine, Sudan, the Congo, and New Caledonia must all be free. And Haiti as well. None of us are free till we're all free. Look out for each other, take care of each other. Cuba needs to be free also. And when I say that, I mean in the context of the United States needs to stop, the United States needs to stop doing the thing where they are um, the blockades need to stop, the sanctions need to stop. So when I say that Cuba must be free, that's what I mean. Anyway, so thank y'all for that. Deeply appreciate it. Let's go hang out with Ash. I'm gonna go warm up some dinner. I'm hungry as fuck. So I'm going to go eat. All right, y'all. Till next time. Take care. Deuces.